Hey guys, so we just got the announcement for Stories of Afternoon event and also Ceobe Radar banner. So as usual, I want to go through like the operators, the new 6-star and also the new 5-star operator lays, and go through like their perks. Do I recommend pulling them? But today is going to be a tiny little bit different, and this has some like Chinese new event spoilers included. So if you want to watch those, stick to the end of the video where I usually finish the operator analysis kind of bit, and then I'll talk a bit more about those spoilers afterwards. So as usual, I'll give you a short answer, and this short answer might not be the usual stuff, but it's like if you have AFLer and you feel like you don't need, if you feel like your AFLer is doing well enough for you, you probably don't need to pull Ceobe. If you feel like, yes, AFLer is very nice and she's strong, but you want another caster that is more dedicated to single target damage, then I would definitely recommend Ceobe. So, let's go into that. This is the usual stuff. A ship. Ceobe here is a single target, quote unquote, crowd control, but also DPS, single target mage. Even though AFLer is technically speaking also a single target mage, but with her skill 2 and skill 3, the Volcano, AFLer is more towards AoE and multi-target damage. But Ceobe, on the other hand, is more focused on the real single damage part of the whole single target caster thing. So looking at her talents, when attacking, dealing additional arch damage equal to blah 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 percent of enemies defense, that's the good stuff. And when there's no allies in the 4 tiles next to her, she gets a bit of attack and attack speed, that's good. But the real stuff is in her skill, right? So her skill 1 is that her next attack deals more damage. That's pretty much it. Like, there is kind of binding them if the enemy is unblocked and such like that, but you're really looking at the damage. So this is a very generic speaking skill 1. We're kind of used to that. Now, skill 2 is the key to how Ceobe differentiates herself from AFLer, in my opinion. And I believe skill 2 is the skill that you will be using the most if you ever pull her. The ability is that she will greatly reduce her attack interval, reduced to 33% at M3. So what does that mean? If you go down to her stats, you can see that her attack time is 1.6 seconds. What does that mean is that between her attack, her animation, there is a 1.6 second gap. So when you reduce that to 33%, which is 1/3, you're looking at roughly 0.53 second attack interval. And you can imagine that is very, very, very strong. And especially because that she is dealing arch damage. So even if the enemy has like 20% resistance, she is still more than capable in dealing tons of damage, because in terms of arch damage, even though AFLer seems like she can deal like perhaps higher damage at first glance, but because Ceobe also deals additional arch damage, and because how resistance works is it is decreased by percentage, not like defense where it's decreasing by a certain amount straight away. Even if the enemy has higher resistance, Ceobe is still a better single target damage caster than AFLer when her skill 2 is activated. So if you feel like you want a boss killer, or you want to go into those stages where there is only one really high threat enemies coming once at a time, Ceobe will be my choice instead of AFLer. AFLer is good at dealing with big packs of enemies at once. Alright. Skill 3. Increase in attack range, making her attack range similar to Blue Poison and Exia. Attack plus 210%, which is very, very impressive, seeing that her base attack is over 700. So plus 210%, that makes her each hit to be somewhere like 2000 base attack. But changes the damage type to physical damage, right? And she prioritizes the enemy with the lowest defense and seal their special ability for 5 seconds. So what you're looking at is pretty much something against those spiders. And here you can see what I mean by you'll be mostly using her skill 2. It is because her skill 3 is used in more niche situations. And if you were dealing with enemies with lower defense, there are other characters that can do the same job. Let's say Meteorite. Meteorite with her AoE, the explosion with her skill 1 will kill all those low defense enemies anyway, right? So what you really want from this is the quote-unquote seal their special ability, which is just silence. You can do that with other characters as well, like Lapland. And the fact that she's losing her identity as a caster and using physical damage instead of arch damage, I feel like I probably won't be using this skill as much as skill 2. Not saying that skill 3 would be useless, but I would say skill 2 is genuinely the better choice. Especially because how, yes, it has a long 60-second duration, but it also has a 80 SP cost. So it pretty much means you enter the battle, you drop her down, you wait for the skill to charge up to 80 from 55, which is like 25-second charge. You use the skill, and you'll pretty much never use it again in the same battle. While skill 2, yes, she does have a 40-second duration skill 2, which is a bit shorter than 60 seconds, but the SP cost is also 40. So half the time her skill can be activated, half is on cooldown. Skill 3 is more leaning on once per battle kind of usage. So that's my recommendation of Lazy, of Ceobe. Let's talk about Lays. Yes, Lays. I was kind of confused about her name, so I had to Google it. Apparently she's not lazy, she's not lazy, she's Lays. So, even though Lays looks like she has a single target-ish caster range, her cost is that of a AoE caster. Why is that? And yes, her attack interval is also longer. It is because the way she attacks. So for those of you that who's familiar with other games before, you wouldn't understand by just saying her attack is pretty much chain lightning. So her attack bounces between enemies up to 3 times, reducing damage each time as usual, as a lot of chain lightning skills do, and inflicting slow by a tiny little bit. You can barely feel the slow whatsoever. It is very insignificant, right? Her talent is that when she's attacking unblocked enemies, increase attack to a certain percentage. It sounds pretty nice on paper, but you have to remember the fact that because of her cost and her attack interval, it makes her less, like she attacks way less, and it's harder to put her on the field in the first place anyway. I can probably just put another AoE caster on the field and hit more than 4 targets at once. Slow seems nice, but as I said, 0.2 seconds really isn't that much. So this tiny little bit of increase in attack isn't really that significant. Her skill 1 is very simplistic, plus attack. Okay, maybe you can use that with her lightning, but I don't really see how that really like improves as much. Her skill 2 is always the most interesting part. Attack plus 150%, and attacks no longer reduce damage after each bounce. This is the interesting skill, right? So the fact that her attack doesn't drop 25% each time, now technically speaking, she's dealing the same damage to 4 opponents, each with 250% of her base attack, well, base arts damage. So this looks really nice, right? Only if you look at her SP cost. So similar to Ceobe skill 3, she has a 80 SP cost, and that pretty much explains everything. Even though she has a 35-second duration, which maybe you can squeeze in 2 hits, but also the fact that the duration is 35 seconds, so you use the skill once, it lasts for 35 seconds. Oh, nice. And you have to wait another 80 seconds to use the skill again. That is hugely time consuming, and I would say just retreat her and redeploy her is probably even the faster way to go. Maybe not. But as you can see, like, this is a very long cooldown, and personally, I would rarely use her, especially if you don't have as many resources to level up as many operators. I would probably not consider her. So that is genuinely my recommendation up to a certain point in the Chinese content. So from here on out, I will go into a bit of a spoiler section. Okay, so today, the Chinese Arknights just released their new summer event. I don't really remember the English name of the event, but it is the new summer event, and they added a new game style to it. So it's not like one event, like having 2 playstyles. No, it is similar to how when we have CC and another event at the same time. They're introducing summer event and another event. This is the new roguelike gameplay mode. This is a super fun mode, and it doesn't cost any sanity at all, and it is super addictive. When the event just launched, just hours ago, I started playing it on stream, and I couldn't stop it for 5 straight hours before my stomach literally tells me like I should eat something and I probably should go to rest as well. Before then, I couldn't even stop. I felt like it was like 20 minutes gone and it's like 5 hours gone already. It is super addictive. It is super fun. What does that have to do with pulling Ceobe or not? So since that it is a roguelike gameplay, you don't actually get every single one of your operator in already, right? Yes, you can choose, you can get random summons throughout the whole gameplay, throughout the whole run, and you can choose, let's say, like between your casters, you can choose to summon your 6-star casters with higher like cost or higher currency in the run, or you can choose a lower rarity caster for the lower cost to summon them into your deck, and you build the deck and then you finally finish the event. Simple, right? So my experience with that in my Chinese account is that I don't have enough operators. I don't have enough operators leveled up, and I really wanted to try Ceobe in that event if possible, but I couldn't do that. Why? Because I didn't get her. And I really regret not getting her in the first place. Now looking back at it, I probably thought Ceobe wasn't really needed as much for a really long period of time. Until now, this roguelike event, I feel, is even more fun than the CC event. I think this is like Arknights going to the next step, and to enjoy this next step even more, I would recommend all of you that has the ability to pull as many operators as you can. You don't have to get the potential. You don't have to wail to get potential, but try to get every single one of them and level as many of them as you can. If you feel like you don't have the money to do so, at least try to level up more of the operators as you can, or bring more operators to M3s potentially, because the operator that you can use in the roguelike gameplay is actually your operator. So if you bring your operator to like level 68, you can only get up to level 68 operator, right? So back then we were like, oh yeah, focus on CC. CC is the real deal, right? We finished CC in high risk, we flex, we can share that. It's a good content. It's like, yeah, flexing, oh my god, I cleared this risk, blah 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 blah. After this roguelike thing came out, I changed my mind. this is the new stuff. This is where Arknights can be going next, and I see even more potential in Arknights, and hence I would recommend everyone, if possible, stay with the game until then, experience the roguelike event for yourself, and tell me that you feel it is worth it. Because personally, I feel that like all the time I've been sticking with Chinese, playing as a free-to-play, didn't get as many operators, didn't clear high risk. I could only clear risk 18 to get the basic rewards. I felt like I was a trash compared to my English account, but now everything is worth it. I will make a video on the new roguelike gameplay as well. So after I'm done with my university stuff, a few of my assignments, I will probably go and do a few more runs on stream and probably off stream this weekend. And then I would try to make a video out of some of those runs to explain how the system works and that. So if you're interested in any of those, feel free to join my Twitch or subscribe to the channel so you can see the run video that I will be making, hopefully. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.